People cry, not because they're weak. It's because they've been strong for too long.
If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems that he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through.
When did you start like regularly smoking?
Since I was like 10 years old. When you're a kid, your mother gives you liquor and marijuana for you, and you think that you're gonna go to sleep or something. Yeah. No, my mother was alcoholic.
Damn.
My father was an alcoholic. Mean fucking drunk. Come home hammered, looking to wail on somebody. So I'd provoke him, so he wouldn't go after my mother and little brother. Interesting nights when he wore his rings.
He used to just put a wrench, a stick, and a belt on the table. Just say choose.
Oh, I gotta go with the belt there, Vanna.
I used to go with the wrench.
Why the wrench?
It's fun. That's why.
Your foster father.
Yeah.
Oh wait, it's my turn, right? I never eat frozen yogurt. Never had a pet pony. Never got nothing from Santa Claus. Never relied on anyone for protection before. Hell, I don't think I've ever relied on anyone for anything.
Daryl.
Never sung out in front of a big group out in public like everything was fun, like everything was a big game. I sure as hell never cut my wrist looking for attention.
But my mom's boyfriend, I'll never forget this guy. When he heard the door, it startled him. So here's what he did. He looked over his left shoulder. Here's Chad Varga. I'm standing there, cut off white t-shirt. And I'm standing there at 14. And he looked at me. When he realized it was just a 14-year-old kid, this looked like as if to say, what are you going to do, big fella? And he was happy because it wasn't a neighbor. He wasn't getting busted for domestic violence. So what he did is he finished what he was doing. I watched him hit my mom in the face.
Because when you're watching your mom go through horrific things, and I was never sheltered. It wasn't like my mom kept me from like my soon-to-be stepdad got murdered. It wasn't like she said, oh, we gotta keep this from David. People tried to kill him several times before they finally killed him. And we continued going to this man's house. They attempted to kill him, and we were going there almost every weekend. So I'm like, Mom, this just wasn't your life. I was a young kid watching you go through this shit. I was living it with you, and I didn't have the brain to absorb the adult life that you put my childlike brain in.
And I remember, I'm serious, man, I hit him as hard as I could. I grabbed a lamp off the table, I hit him across the shoulder. He jumped up, and he grabbed me, and he threw me against the wall, and my elbow dented the drywall. And I stood up, and this guy worked construction, right? He had steel toe metal boots on. When he kicked me, I thought he broke my leg. It was so much pain. I fell to the ground, and let me give you the visual. First thing I did was cover my face, and this guy started pounding me in my ribs, and I was taking them pretty good. Eventually, I couldn't breathe.
It took several years for me to figure out who the devil was. And the devil was my father.
He slammed the door. He used to tell me, Chad, you're worthless. My whole life, people looked at me and they said, you're going to be this because of what you're growing up in. And that night, laying in that bed, I made a decision at 14 years old that I wasn't going to get caught up like the other kids. All these people, you get around successful people, guess what you'll find? There's a DNA strand in them that's different. There's something in them. It's insatiable. And what it says is nothing is going to keep me from reaching my dream.
Like you're what, 14, 15 years old?
17 years of age.
And any other skills besides surfing?
Like what? Like singing and dancing?
Yeah, yeah.
No, not me, man. I just surf.
But when I went to the hospital, the people that were there, they're up there because their kids are dead too. I had to back them. I had to get out. I couldn't handle it all. You have to go. Now, you understand, right? Thank you.
Sir, Mike, I'm really sorry you're going through this.
Okay.
I'm sorry if we brought up...
It's okay. I gotta grow up. It's tough. Goddamn man, stop crying.
You're allowed to cry, Mike.
Well, E.T., your daddy wasn't in your life. Your mom was a teenage mother.
I leave everything I have. My mom take care of me and my two brothers alone, you know. Now, Dad, you proud of me, Dad. You proud of me.
Game was over. When I go in the locker room, we got a shower. Coach 𝐩𝐿𝐿 goes like this. He said, fellas, no practice tomorrow. All my buddies on my team, who raised their hand and said they were gonna be successful, go to college, play pro ball. Those guys start nudging each other and they're excited because what it meant is they could go out, they could party, they could drink a little bit, hit the blunt. Turned around and I said, no, I said, I got some work to do. And I kept walking. You know what I did that night? I went home, no dad telling me to do it. And I went on a 3-mile jog. Somebody looked at me and said, why would you run 3 miles after playing a game? Do you know why I ran 3 miles? My dream was to be the first in my family to go to college, play pro basketball, yes. But you know what my real dream was? One day have a family and give them a life that I never had growing up. My buddies in school, they started laughing at me, making fun of me, nudging me a little bit, telling me it was never gonna happen. And here's one thing you can count on. Anytime you have a dream in your life, the first thing you can count on is for somebody to come along and tell you what you can't do and what you're incapable of.
I just need you to identify what your pain is. And then I need you to ask yourself what you're gonna let your pain break. Look, I'm not the only person who's been homeless, but a lot of guys who are homeless didn't turn into this.
He tells me, you know, kid, never give up. Find a way, because that's what winners do.
He was a little teeny small egg. He wasn't very impressive. Glenn was the big egg, Cody was a small egg. He can't help it. He's, that's just the way he is. He never really knew his father.
Say, Dwayne, I'm sad. Dude, that's a part of life. You think I don't go through depression sometimes? You think I don't get sad sometimes? You think I don't just feel wore out and burnt plumb down to the bottom of my soul? We're not men because we face the battle and we get immediately victory every time a battle comes up. We're men because we face the battle and we stay in the battle when we feel like we're losing and we feel like we're getting beat up.
I took my pain and turned it into a career. I took my pain and turned it into a 4-year degree. I took my pain and turned it into a master's degree. I took my pain and turned it into a PhD. Listen to me, I cannot stop what happens to me, but I can dictate how I respond.
Some young kid that was tortured from my family, from my father. And I come in, when my mom left my father, we moved to Brazil, Indiana. My mom drives up and I'm thinking I'm gonna get some pity party from my grandparents. And Sergeant Jack looked at me, man, like I was a brand new recruit coming off the bus, man. He didn't give a fuck about what my dad did to me. He was like, look, young man, there's a lot of kids out there who live like you do, who have gone through what you've gone through. Maybe not as bad, but you're not the only one. And my grass needs to be cut. My cars need to be cleaned. The yard needs to be raked. He taught me a lot of lessons within the lesson of no one really gives a fuck. You have to continue to live your life, or you can choose to be doomed and become a statistic. Like a lot of young people who fall back on their childhood when their childhood wasn't good.
But we stay in there and we keep fighting and we plant our feet and we say, until death do I part, this is me and I will fight this battle, regardless of what the battle is.
Time is precious. Life is not just the passing of time. Life is a collection of experiences, their frequency and their intensity. Life is not just watching the clock tick away. When my friend Mark died at age 44, someone says, that's young to die. But what if he lived 4 lifetimes in one? It might not be too young. Whatever the span of your life turns out to be, here's what you want to fill it up with: experiences and the intensity of those experiences.
And so one of the things that happens when you're broke is that you bet on stuff and then it doesn't work and people feel like they're back at zero, but you're not back at zero. You're at where you were, +1 experience, +2 experiences, +3 experiences, +4 experiences. But when you have +18 experiences, all of a sudden, boop, you level up 1.
I'm telling you, quit moping, quit whining, get up and keep going. The bell will ring on this particular fight that you're in, whatever it may be. The bell will ring and that fight will be over. None of them last forever. None of them last forever.
Because you're sad, now you're gonna make a bunch of bad decisions because you're sad? No, it doesn't work like that. You're sad, okay. You get emotional sometimes? Okay, got it. Now, get control of your emotions and carry on with your life.
Being tired is part of fighting. Go find one MMA fighter, one boxer, one combatant of any kind who's never tired, who never gets tired, who doesn't get so exhausted in the ring that he's just moving on guts alone. That's all he's got left is his guts.
Because if you started diets and you failed, and you started working out and you failed, if you just make it longer every time before you fail, you're still making progress and you're still doing something that everyone else isn't doing. Yeah. And that is the biggest meta indicator that you possibly can, is because everyone sucks. Like, so many people are mediocre. Like, half of the United States is in debt. They don't even have they're negative net worth. just saying different than that, the bar isn't high.
But take pride in the fact that you're one of the chosen few who's been picked to stand in the doorway and take the beating so the loved ones behind you don't have to. Smile in the middle of that fight. Smile through those bruises. Smile through that swollen face. Smile through the blood.
Devil really was me. No one's gonna come back and say, hey man, I apologize. Maybe someone does. Very few people will. I had to confront him. And when I confronted the devil, so what I thought was the devil, I realized that I was the true devil. I was the one holding me back. I was the one looking for the scapegoat. It's on me. My dad's f***ed up, my mom's f***ed up, the people around me are f***ed up. They're not gonna save you. You gotta save yourself, my friend. That's when all that reality hit me. I was like, man, this rest of your life is gonna, it is gonna, not because you're gonna be a loser, but because you're gonna finally start to win. And winning is not easy, my friend.
I told you, I didn't get a new daddy. I didn't get a new mama. What changed? I changed. And I stopped being a victim. I stopped saying, I've got to wait for good things to happen to me. And I said, I'm going to grind. I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to press toward. I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim.
I don't look down on those moments. You take those moments, you make the best of them because they're life lessons. It's that simple. You're saying it's positive, but it's really just simplicity that's real. It's real.
It's real, and it's your life experience, and it's your life's lessons.
I lost everything twice. I don't know if you've ever lost everything before, but I've been bottomed out twice. Been through some walls up in here, man. I'm just trying to tell you, man, God is really with you. You have a great life in front of you, but your great life is in front of you. It's not behind you.
If you face your fears, guys, you will realize it's not that big. And once you face it, you go, oh my God, man, I spent all this time running from it. It was so small.
The bigger the wall that you have to get through is, as soon as you get past that one big wall, you then can use that wall as the evidence for why you can jump over the next wall, because that will be the biggest one.
You face your fears, you become the person you want to be. You run from your fears, you're not living. You're alive, but you're not taking the freedom. You're not running the day. The day's running you. You always be the f***ing servant, not the master, guys.
Hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times. We are now around soft men and hard times.
Like, it feels like hell. It feels like to do the thing, to fail, to not feel like anybody cares about you, to not even know that there's going to be glory in retrospect.
Yeah.
It feels despondent and destitute and sad and alone, and I get it.
Success is not, a marathon of life with just ups. Success is formulated through failures, falling down and getting back up. That's what creates the champion. Success does not define us. We define the success.
I gotta do something. I'm trying to save my fucking life. Okay, no one else is gonna save my life, right? If I just sit here and diddle around, what am I gonna have? Nothing.
When you were born, you are unique. Your DNA has never occurred in the history of the universe, going back billions of years. Your life experience with your parents and everything that you experience in your early years going on up is unique, it's yours. You are one of a kind, right? That is your source of power. To waste that is just the worst thing you can do in your life. And what the power is finding that uniqueness. What makes you you, and how you can mine that, and how you can go deep into it and use that to create a career path.